Am I the a-hole for not caring? Hey, Reddit. I don't even know where to start with this, but I need to get it off my chest. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I feel like I've spent my entire life being invisible in my own family. I'm Naomi, 19 female. I'm the oldest of 3. My brother Elijah, 17 male, is the middle child, and my youngest brother Jordan, 15 male, is the quiet one who stays out of the drama. We grew up in a pretty well-off family, nice house, good schools, on paper everything looks perfect. But inside our house, there's always been this unspoken rule: Elijah is the favorite. I don't mean our parents love him a little more. I mean golden child treatment, constant praise, special treatment, every little thing he does is considered genius level. Meanwhile, Jordan and I are just there. I've always been the good daughter. I got good grades, stayed out of trouble, did everything I was supposed to do. I thought if I worked hard enough, I'd get the same recognition Elijah did. Spoiler, I didn't. The worst part, Stanford. Stanford was my dream school. I worked my ass off in high school, AP classes, extracurriculars, volunteering. I applied 2 years ago, and when I got rejected, it crushed me. My parents barely reacted. I got some half-hearted, "Oh, that's too bad," and a pat on the shoulder before they moved on. Fast forward to last weekend. I come home from college for the weekend, and the second I walk in, I can tell something's up. The house smells like rosemary chicken, mom's special occasion meal. The dining table is set with the fancy plates, candles are lit. So I ask, what's the occasion? My mom, barely looking at me, goes, Elijah got into Stanford. I swear, my stomach dropped. Then Elijah leans back against the counter with that smug little smirk and says, early acceptance. And my dad, my boy is going places. I always knew he would. It took everything in me not to scream. I sat through an entire dinner where they toasted to his bright future while I pushed food around my plate. Nobody, not even once, acknowledged that I had applied there too. That I had wanted it just as badly. That 2 years ago, I sat in the same house, heartbroken, and got nothing but a weak oh well. Jordan barely spoke either. He just kept glancing at me like he knew exactly what I was thinking. Later that night, I found him in his room, sketching. He's really talented, by the way. Not that my parents notice. I sat on his bed, still fuming. It's not fair, I muttered. He didn't even look up. Just let out a short laugh. It never is. I asked him if he thought they even remembered I had applied there. He didn't answer, but I knew the truth. They didn't. Or worse, they did and just didn't care. I don't even know why I'm posting this. Maybe I just needed to say it somewhere. Maybe I'm just bitter. But I'm so sick of feeling like no matter what I do, I'll never be enough. Update. Hey, Reddit, didn't expect to be back so soon, but a lot has happened since my last post. First of all, wow, I did not expect this kind of response. I read through a ton of comments, and honestly, it felt weirdly validating to know I'm not crazy for feeling this way. Some of you asked for an update, so here it is. I don't know if it was the Stanford thing or just years of built-up resentment, but something inside me snapped that night. After talking to Jordan, I just couldn't let it go. I lay in bed for hours, replaying the dinner over and over in my head. The clinking glasses, the laughter, my dad's proud grin, my mom's beaming face, all for Elijah. Again. At some point, I thought, screw this. I got up, walked straight into my parents' room, and asked, do you even remember that I applied to Stanford? Mom looked up from her Kindle, blinking like she had to process the question. Dad was already half asleep, but he frowned. What? I folded my arms. 2 years ago, Stanford. Do you remember? There was this awkward silence before my mom went, of course we do, honey. Lies. Dad sighed like I was being dramatic. That was different. Elijah's circumstances. I cut him off. Different how? Silence. Mom shifted uncomfortably. Well, Elijah's always been very ambitious, Naomi. You know that. I actually laughed. Right. And I'm not. Sweetheart, that's not what we're saying. But that's exactly what they were saying. I wasn't him. No matter what I did, I would never be him. I don't even remember what I said after that. I just remember storming out, slamming my door so hard a picture frame fell off the wall. I sat in my bed, shaking. Not crying, I was too angry for that. And that's when I made a decision. I'm done trying to impress them. The next morning, I woke up to my mom's signature passive-aggressive energy. She was being all extra nice to me, which meant she felt guilty but would never admit she was wrong. Dad, on the other hand, just acted like nothing happened. Classic. Elijah. Oh, he was loving it. Smirking at me across the table, like my meltdown was just another win for him. Like he was untouchable. And Jordan, he just sat there, watching everything, like he was taking mental notes for the next time they did this to one of us. I realized something in that moment. Elijah didn't just believe he was better than me. He knew mom and dad did too. And that gave him power. But what if I stopped playing the game? I've spent my whole life trying to prove myself, waiting for them to finally see me. But what if I stopped caring? What if I focused on myself, built my own life, and left them to their Elijah worshipping bubble? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not sure what that looks like yet, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like I have a choice. Anyway, thanks for listening, Reddit. Not sure if I'll update again, but if I do, maybe it'll be from a place where I don't give a damn about their approval anymore. Wish me luck. Update 2. Alright, Reddit. It's been a few weeks since my last post, and I honestly wasn't planning to update again, but some stuff went down. So here I am. When you stop caring, they start noticing. After that whole Stanford dinner disaster, I made a promise to myself, I'm done trying to impress them. No more fighting for scraps of attention. No more waiting for them to see me. I was going to live my life for me. And let me tell you, the second I stopped caring, everything shifted. I went back to college with a new mindset. Normally, I'd call home every couple of days, update my parents on school, ask about their week, whatever. This time, radio silence. No texts, no calls. I wanted to see how long it would take for them to notice. 10 days. 10 freaking days before my mom finally texted, "Hey sweetie, haven't heard from you in a while. Everything okay?" I left her on read. It was petty, I know, but it felt so good. Then, something interesting happened. A week later, my dad called. That never happens unless it's something important. I let it go to voicemail. 30 minutes later, mom called. Ignored. An hour after that, Jordan texted me. "Mom's freaking out. They think you're mad. What did you do?" I just responded, "Nothing." That's the point. The golden child notices. Here's where it gets good. A few days after ignoring their calls, guess who suddenly decided to check in on me? Elijah. He FaceTimed me out of nowhere. I debated ignoring it, but curiosity won. The second I answered, he smirked. "Wow, she lives." I rolled my eyes. "What do you want?" He leaned back, stretching like this was all so amusing. "You tell me. Mom and dad are acting like you're missing or something. You finally decided to be dramatic for attention." I laughed. Actually laughed. "You mean the way you've done your entire life?" That wiped the smirk off his face. For the first time ever, I saw a crack in his perfect confidence. "You're seriously pissed about Stanford?" He scoffed. I tilted my head. "Not really. I'm pissed that I spent years trying to earn their approval when I should have just done whatever I wanted from the start." He went quiet for a second. "So that's why you're ignoring them?" Yup. His jaw tightened. "You know they're never gonna pick you over me, right?" And that's when I knew. He was nervous. Because I wasn't playing the game anymore. I wasn't competing. And without me constantly trying and failing to measure up, he had no one to be better than. "Keep the golden child title, Elijah," I said, smirking. "I don't want it anymore." Then I hung up. So, what now? That was a few days ago. My parents are still texting, still calling, but I haven't responded yet. I don't know if I even want to. For the first time, I feel like I have control over my own life. I've started applying for internships, looking into study abroad programs, making plans that have nothing to do with what they think I should be doing. And it feels amazing. I know this isn't some perfect revenge story where they suddenly realize how wrong they were and beg for my forgiveness. That's not real life. But what is real? The fact that I'm finally choosing me. So yeah, maybe I was the invisible child for years. But now, I'm officially done being part of their narrative. Anyway, thanks for listening, Reddit. Again, I think this might be my last update, because for once, I don't feel like I need their validation anymore. But if anything wild happens, you'll be the first to know. Update 3 and final update. Alright, Reddit. I wasn't planning to update again, but, oh boy. Some things happened that I did not see coming. If you've been following my story, buckle up. So, after my last update, I fully committed to Operation Live My Own Life. I threw myself into my internship applications, started hanging out more with friends, and even looked into studying abroad. Meanwhile, I kept up my no-contact streak with my parents. And guess what? The more I ignored them, the more desperate they got. It started with mom guilt-tripping. "Naomi, I don't understand why you're shutting us out. We love you." Then dad's passive-aggressive jabs. "We've always supported you, but if you want to push us away, that's your choice." I wasn't buying any of it. But then, Elijah cracked. Last weekend, I went home to grab some things from my old room. I didn't tell anyone I was coming. I planned to just walk in, grab my stuff, and to leave. Except Elijah was home. He was in the kitchen when I walked in, and the second he saw me, he went, "Oh, look who decided to visit." I ignored him, heading upstairs. But apparently, he had other plans because he followed me. Okay, seriously, he said, leaning against my doorframe. How long are you gonna keep this up? I tossed my bag onto my bed. Keep what up? The whole, I don't care anymore, act. He scoffed. You're not fooling anyone. I turned to him, arms crossed. Actually, I think I am. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't working. His jaw clenched. Bingo. For the first time in our entire lives, Elijah looked threatened. You think you're punishing them? He said. All you're doing is proving them right. That hit a nerve. Right about what? That I'm the successful one. That I'm the one who belongs in this family. I stared at him, stunned. Not because he said it, but because I finally understood. Elijah wasn't confident. He was terrified. His whole identity was built around being the golden child. But now, I wasn't competing anymore. I wasn't chasing their approval. I was leaving them behind. And that meant he had no one to measure himself against. I feel sorry for you, I said finally. He blinked. What? I slung my bag over my shoulder. You need their approval more than I ever did. Then I walked out. Since then, my parents have really been trying to reel me back in. Suddenly, they're asking about my classes. Suddenly, they're interested in my internship applications. I wish I could say this as some big, dramatic revenge story where they finally realize how long they were in bed for my forgiveness. But that's not real life. They won't change. Not completely. Maybe they'll try harder for a while, but deep down, Elijah will always be their favorite. And you know what? I don't care anymore. For the first time in my life, I'm not living for them. I'm living for me, and it feels damn good. So yeah, Reddit. That's the end of this chapter of my life. Maybe one day, I'll go full no contact. Maybe I won't. But for now, I'm free. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an amazing story.